moving forward now, like, I guess trying to build your own Australian dream still, and with this book, this was like your mission for such a long time.
Yes.
Now that it's over, where does forging your own path now look like?
It's interesting because it's like the vision is not over, but a part of the fulfillment of it is. So, my vision is to inspire and empower people to dream, forge their own path, and be the leader in their life. And the book is just one tool that I use to hopefully inspire and equip people to have tools to be the leaders of their own life. So for me, it's part of the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the bigger picture is accessibility. So the book is part of accessibility. I've just recently finished my online course. I can't wait for you to use it.
Okay, yes. Can't wait.
And of course, the speaking and the coaching. But there are other things that I have in my dream journal. So in my dream journal, I have things like the musical or a film or a symphony of dreams forging my own path. And I've started writing my next book, which is called How to Make Powerful Decisions Easily, a love story.
Wow.
So
there you go. There's the title right there.
Yeah. So all of that is, the book is just one aspect to the bigger picture. And I love the opportunity of having a vision. And this is why it's important to have a vision, because a vision is something that's really important to me. What was really important to me was that growing up, I never had the opportunity to be able to make decisions on my own terms.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't allowed to fail on my own terms. I wasn't allowed to be successful on my own terms. Imagine, being told who you are by your parents, but you know that it's not quite right. And I'm a gay man. Imagine being told who you are by society, by the country. And we're seeing that in the world today. You go everywhere and governments are legislating, on what women can and can't do with their bodies. Governments are legislating who you can and can't love. That's horrifying. It's a prison. I don't want that to happen to me, and I don't want to do that to others. So for me, I'm very connected to the consequences of not having the opportunity to live life on one's own term, to be the leader of your own life.
Yeah.
The consequences are mental health issues, trauma, where you spend thousands of dollars on therapy if you are in a country that even has access to therapy, and people kill themselves. And so I hear these kinds of stories all the time. I get stories from people living in Nigeria, people living in Australia as well. I'm not okay with that. So this is my small contribution, to elevating the consciousness of humanity.
Yeah.
So there's no going back. So even let's say you're asking about taking risks and everything around me fell apart in my business, what I would still be doing is still fulfilling the vision. I wouldn't just go and get a job just to get a job. I would still be striving of how do I use my skills and my experience to elevate the consciousness of humanity.
Just a quick announcement before we return to the podcast. If you're enjoying this episode of Midweek Motivation, you may be interested in checking out the Midweek Motivation newsletter, where every week I'll share with you a useful lesson on resilience, mindset, or fitness, or health in general, straight to your inbox. You also receive a free workout of the week, useful resources, and the latest videos that I've got up there. And just if you want to keep updated on my life, you'll find everything there. If you're interested in that, go ahead and hit the link in the description below, or go to Substack and search up Midweek Motivation. All right, let's return to the podcast.
That's the question.
Always following through with the vision.
Yes, always.
Yeah.
And that could lead me to packing things on the Coles, supermarket.
Yeah.
Because if I'm then getting money and then it's supporting my family, I'm elevating the consciousness of humanity. If that money is being used to help my sister, with her needs, that's elevating the consciousness of humanity.
Yeah.
So, but it starts with what is that thing that really matters?
Yes.
The vision. So what's your vision? What's yours?
I don't know. I'm still struggling to fit it in a very concise mission statement.
Yes.
My vision is to build a life where I have the freedom for my family.
Yes.
And well, I mean, I guess that's a concise statement you could say, but it's still very broad.
Yes.
Which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, because it gives me opportunity to go off in many different areas that ultimately helps me build a life for like a life of freedom and opportunity for my family. So whether if I continue on my current path as a fitness coach, as an athlete, as a striving businessman myself, it could be anything that can really fulfill that vision.
Yes, and I think what you just said is so important there. So I can hear what's important to you when you said that, being able to have freedom for your family. That's something that's really important to you. And a lot of the time, we sometimes minimize that. And that's important, and that's enough.
Yeah.
That can be completely enough in itself. And a vision is not a good idea. It has to be something you're connected to.
Yeah.
That's what I've discovered for myself. A vision is not like trying to copy somebody else's vision. That doesn't work. It has to be in my heart, my spirit, my mind.
Yeah.
It actually takes all of me. And the stronger the connection, the more power to fulfill on it. I think the second thing as well that you said that's important is when fulfilling on a vision, it can show up in infinite ways. So one of the things that I say to people is, don't get stuck with what you already know. So some people will say, I want to live my career. I want to live being a lawyer, and I want to be an artist, or want to do something different, but I can't be an artist because I don't know how to do that.
Yep.
And what I say is, you don't need to already know. I didn't already know how to be an author. I didn't already know how to migrate to Australia. Yeah. I did not already know how to be a husband. It doesn't work like that. So the vision comes first. It's something greater than our present identity.
Oh, that's a really good take on that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. After I read Dreams, I started thinking about how to become the leader of my own life. And I've been kind of, I guess, coming back to that initial question, and I'm still journaling it out, writing it out, what kind of makes sense to me. I'm curious to know, what does that look like for you, becoming the leader of your own life?
Yes. So I remember when I made the decision to run my business, to be a decision maker, actually. And I was working in a law firm, and I was doing all this research for this, corporate Australia. And I was in this huge construction dispute. And we're working long hours, as you can imagine, 16, 18-hour days, and getting ready for this mediation, because there was no meditation, mediation between the parties. And neither of the parties cared about the advice either lawyers were providing. They were just so angry with each other, and their egos were strong. And I thought to myself, I'm wasting my life. I'm wasting my life. I've just spent 2 weeks, doing all this research. And I thought to myself, well, if I'm willing to do that for others, why am I doing that for myself?
Yeah.
That was like the turning point. But before that, there were all these other things that had been happening. Growing up in Zimbabwe, where being gay is illegal, and I'm now discovered, and I am a gay man, I had to either choose to hide who I am, to please society, to please parents, to please friends, or, reveal and live life on my authentic true self. And I chose my authentic true self because here was pain. So for me, in this world today, a lot of the things I hear, the stories I hear from people is, I can't do this because my mom and dad will abandon me. I can't do this because I'll lose my friendship groups, etc. So a lot of the time, we're not leading our own lives. We're buying into other people's opinions, other people's ideas, and other people's fears of who we should be.
Okay.
And that's bullshit.